is sort of in keeping with Black History Month, and it's called To Amanda Gorman, from an old queer white writer to a young Black poet. Quote, "For there is always a light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it," unquote. Amanda Gorman, inaugural poet, January 20, 2021. Amanda Gordon, you are the light, brilliant and beautiful, speaking the truth, living proof that there is hope. Amanda Gorman, you make me smile. With confidence and style, you inspire me to be better and bolder, brighter and braver. Amanda Gordon, wise beyond your years, challenging us to transform our fears, steering us to become healers, shaping our future, brave enough to see it, brave enough to be it. Amanda Gorman, thank you. Well, that's that. Yeah, I stumbled reading it, but you get the gist. So this is, I was overwhelmed by her performance at the inauguration, and I somehow, she came into my mind last night at like 2 a.m, and most of this sort of filtered through my mind. So this is the short essay. It's called The Long-Limbed Lady, subtitled Let It Go. And just by way of clarification, Sydney is my dog. I spotted her about a quarter mile down the trail coming in our direction, the long-limbed lady. Sydney and I have seen her numerous times on our walks over the past year, and still to this day, Sid remains terrified of her. My initial impression was that she could well be an escapee from a marionette factory with no puppeteer to control her long limbs, which seemed to flail about unpredictably. I'm not sure what Sid's initial impression was, but it was apparently about the same as mine. Sadly, the long-limbed lady desperately wants Sid to like her. Sid's negative reaction to her, however, increases the closer the woman approaches. At about 20 feet away, the long-limbed lady routinely raises her barely controlled arms high into the air and brings them down onto her bony knees in an attempt at a come here gesture. This is followed by a short hop or two, resulting in an additional flailing of limbs. The situation only gets worse when the long-limbed lady speaks, which is actually more like squeaks. I assume puppets aren't supposed to have voices in the first place, so given her escapee status, this is probably her best vocalization. Usually, Sid tucks her tail as far as she can underneath her little belly and hides behind me shaking. Over the last year, I've tried to intervene in the situation so the long-limbed lady, who seems quite nice, doesn't feel rejected, and Sid is not terrified. I've tried giving Sid her favorite treats as the woman approaches. I've tried providing treats to the long-limbed lady so she can give them to Sid. Sadly, Sid backs away from her outstretched hands with those big gnarly fingers, no matter how enticing the reward. I've tried explaining to the long-limbed lady that Sid is a rescue dog and seems to be fearful of sudden motions. I don't say that Sid is afraid of unpredictable flailing limbs and high-pitched squeaky sounds, since that might sound insulting. Despite my carefully crafted explanation, the long-limbed lady looks forlorn. I've tried explaining to Sid that the long-limbed lady is well-meaning. In the words of FDR, I tell Sid she has nothing to fear but fear itself. Her look of terror, however, when we encounter the long-limbed lady, indicates Sid gives no credence to inaugural addresses. Of course, I could take my usual cowardly way out and try my best to avoid the long-limbed lady. I picture myself darting into the woods, trying to look as if that was my intended path, or suddenly turning around in the opposite direction, hoping Sid is cooperative with a sudden change in plans. But since the woods are my happy place, I'd rather save my acts of evasion for other locations, like at home, where I avoid my partner's mother like the plague. After our encounter this morning, I finally accepted the truth. Sid and the long-limbed lady are not going to be friends. But that's okay. My dog doesn't have to like everybody, and I don't have to protect other people's feelings or what I perceive them to be their feelings. I'm putting way too much mental and emotional energy into this. What the wrong with me? I know, not enough time to go there. The bottom line is I have to let go. Let the long-limbed lady flail and squeak her way through the woods. Let Sydney be a rescue dog who's frightened by things outside her comfort zone. Just let it go. That's it.